Hi everyone, this is Michael for Spirit Comics. Welcome, true readers, to another review. This is of Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers number 2. And I do like the cover. It's a blue sky. It says to me, hopeful. There are the Zords with the Rangers, all relaxing. The one thing that kind of sticks out to me is on this cover, Kimberly is sort of pinkish red, which is almost the same as Jason's red. So they're almost identical. Now, I was skeptical about this series when I first heard about it some months ago. And admittedly, I did not like the first issue. I was disappointed with the first issue. I was let down some. But this issue is much better, and I'm going to focus on what I enjoyed about this issue. Alright? Now, when I heard about this issue, about this series some months ago, I heard that it was going to be a more character-driven series. Less about the fighting and more about the characters. That sounds a little bit, red alert. But this issue, number 2, is really good. So I'm going to get into the issue and show you what I enjoyed about it. It says 97 days before arrival day, and I never figured out what that actually is. This is Kimberly Hart on a date with her boyfriend Matt, and they are avoiding each other like the plague. They're not saying a word, so they're each thinking. Kimberly's thinking, why did I wear flip-flops? No, she says flats. Excuse me, she said flats. I feel like a gnome. Is it wrong? I mean, is it weird if I ask him to take me home so I can change my shoes? And then he's thinking, wash my car. That's what I forgot to do, moron. I hope that bag of curly fries isn't still in the back seat. And then they start to look at each other very carefully. And Kimberly's thinking, I should say something. And this is Matt. He is the quarterback on his football team. He is Mr. Popularity, you could say. So he's thinking, come on, be cool for once in your life. Don't talk. And then he says, I like your shoes. She says, thanks. So this sort of shows some insecurity of the big guy, the quarterback on the football team, Mr. Popularity. Then she's thinking, oh God, he noticed my shoes. He doesn't like me. And look at that expression on his on his face right there. They're both mortified. And he's thinking, never speak again. Never speak again. She doesn't like you, dude. And then down here, this is really funny. Kimberly says, thinking, why do I smell curly fries? And Matt's thinking, now she thinks you're some creepy guy who's into shoes. Way to make it weird. Congratulations. Then over here, we see him going to a carnival. And so Matt's tried 6 times to get the football into the net, and he hasn't succeeded. And this guy is he's the guy who's running the attraction. He says, "Oh, so close. Thought you had it that time. What do you say? One more try, you're getting close." And Matt says, "That football's not regulation." Kimberly says, "I think 6 tries is enough. Come on." So they're walking about the carnival, and Matt's asking her how she likes Angel Grove, and she's like, well, all of my friends are 1,000 miles away. My parents have stopped talking to each other. So yeah, it's really great. And then this is really funny down here. She's eating a corn dog and says, this corn dog, says, it kinda tastes funny. And Matt says, okay, almost there. The closest clean bathroom in town. You hang it in there and look, there's the vomit emoji right next to her. She is ready to hurl. Again. Because she already hurled once, and we'll see when. He says, I've never seen anyone throw up this much, ever. Do you need me to come in and hold your hair back or something? And she says in a really hushed tone, if you come in, I will die of embarrassment. And he says, there are towels under the sink. And she looks at him and says, sorry about your car. Man says, I needed new floor mats anyway. This is the worst night of my life. And, this is a reflection, I think, of what guys and girls are concerned about at this stage in their life. And Matt, tries to alleviate the tension. He says, and I've been live tweeting this whole time. And Kimberly says, I'm never leaving this bathroom. And he says, I'm kidding, Kimmy. Tell you what, no one will ever find out about tonight if you agree to go out with me one more time. And she says, you really want to relive this nightmare? He says, absolutely. This was our first shot, their first date. And then over here we have some fight. The Power Rangers are fighting the putties, and there's some exchange with Rita Repulsa. And before anything can happen, Alpha teleports him out of there. And here they're back at the command center, and they're addressing a concern to Zordon. And Kimberly says, look, I know the rules and all, but what if we, told our families who we are? Billy says, keeping those we love in the dark is dangerous, Zordon. And Zach says, yeah, and they're gonna figure something up eventually. One time at a party, I just held a cigarette. Just held it. My mom knew, and I was grounded for a week. And Zordon says, the 3 rules of the Ranger were written before man walked the earth. And so, that was the end of, that subject. And so they're outside talking about, stuff that Rita Repulsa had said. That she wanted them to, come over to her side and join the dark side. But, Kimberly and Billy were like, no, they're not going to do it. Then over here, it's the next day, I believe. And this is the home of Trini Kwan, the Yellow Ranger. And we see this exchange between her and her mother. And the first thing her mom says, just tell me, you're not pregnant, are you? And Trini says, what? Mom, no, that's crazy. I mean it, she says. I stayed out late one time. I'm not Hester Prine, whoever that is. And her mom says, is that a girl from school? What's her number? I'm calling her mother. Trini says, Mom, relax. I'm fine. This is a exchange between parents. She's concerned about her daughter, and Trini's trying to alleviate her fears. So her mom says, remember when we lived on the base and you asked if you could go play soldiers with the other boys? And I said, sure. And never worried. You know why? Because when you got back, you told me how Michael Leonard grabbed your ponytail and you kicked him in the butt. Trini says it wasn't his butt. I'm guessing where it was. And her mom says, but since we moved here, we got all, you got all these friends, and you're different. We don't talk like we used to. You told me everything. I miss that. And you have to respect that concern as you know, coming from the mother's perspective. And Trini says, Mom, I love you. And if someone pulls my hair, I will totally tell you. Of course, now she's in high school, so that's not likely to happen. But there are things that are going to be just mine now. So please, just trust that you raised me right, okay? And her mother puts her hands on her hips and says, fine, but there are still rules. And if you stay out late like that again, being grounded will be the least of your worries. Then over here we see Bulk and Skull causing trouble when they're like 20 minutes late to class. And they're totally ignoring the teacher. And Jason steps in and says, sit down. Some of us are actually paying attention. And I don't know why, but this is this is Bulk. And Bulk is a guy. Now, maybe it's just me, but right here, this looks like, I don't know, how some women put their hair in a bun, or they were used to. Maybe it's just the way it's drawn in this panel. But I thought of a woman putting her hair in a bun when I saw that. Anyway, something we start seeing this dialogue between Jason and Trini, which leads up to something really interesting. Because in the show, Trini never really hit on anybody, but now she's not that person. She says, in a very hushed tone to herself, "Don't throw up, Trini. Just don't throw up." She's nervous. She says, "Jason, nice one. About time someone put Bulk in his place. He's a lot of bark and no bite," Jason says. And down here, Trini says, "Lots of kids didn't show up today." And Jason says, "Yeah, everyone's running scared." And Trini says, "Any chance you maybe want to skip out on 6th period and help me with a research project? With all that's going on, I don't think anyone will notice." And this is kind of funny right here. And Jason says, "You should ask Billy. You should talk to Billy. My grades are so low, I think I have a Q in social studies." Then this panel right here, this is a beautiful face of Trini Kwan. She says, "Actually, it's not that kind of project." And over here we see Matt and Kimberly sort of not talking to each other because they had a falling out, not actually a falling out, but it's summed up in these two panels where Kimberly says, "You hate me, don't you?" And Matt says, "Of course I don't hate you, Kimmy, but I do occasionally dislike you. I got class and practice. I gotta go." Now that is pretty bad right there. Now here we see the moon where Rita's talking to her officers, trying to figure up new ways to attack the Power Rangers. And here's what's really interesting. Trini and Jason on that special project. Jason says, Trini, if we walk any further, someone's gonna have to call the Power Rangers to rescue us. Trini says, yeah, this should be far enough. He says, far enough for what? So up here, Trini says, in this panel, to get answers. We've been Rangers for what? A few days? A few days now? It's not like Zordon gave us an owner's manual. What can we do? What can we not do? Do we have abilities we don't know about? What are our weaknesses? Those are good questions. Jason says, she says, I don't know about you, but I'd like to know stuff like that before stepping into another fight. Jason says, alright, so how do we go about that? And she pulls out her morpher and says, want to beat each other up? So then they morph. Saber-tooth tiger, Tyrannosaurus, go Power Rangers. And then they start beating each other up, literally, fighting. And Trini, of course, her dialogue is in the yellow box, and Jason's is in the red box. And she says, when I'm a ranger, I don't just feel different, I think I am different. Jason says, me too. I'm stronger, faster, even a little smarter. And Trini says, I studied martial arts when I was a kid, but after I morph, I suddenly know moves before I do them. And when I sat in my Zord, I knew the controls by heart. And Jason says, as he picks up this boulder, and you see Trini's holding one too. Jason says, yeah, I mean, Billy's got zero fighting ability, but then he morphs, and he's a lethal weapon. Maybe they download something into our brains, like preset instincts or like a sixth sense. And then they go off running, it appears, and Trini says, do you think we have abilities we haven't unlocked? Like maybe we can fly or shoot lasers out of our eyes? And Jason says, that sounds terrifying, but maybe. I do know I can focus way better when I'm the Red Ranger. I'm more confident. And now over here, they're relaxing. They've demorphed, and they're talking on and just relaxing on this beach. And Jason says, and in control for the first time in my life. You hit pretty hard, girl, but check it out. No bruise. And she says in a kind of hushed tone, but not so low that Jason wouldn't hear. She says, yep, no bruise on your perfect abs. She has got the hots for Jason. Jason says, I'm a little sore, but at least we won't have to keep making up excuses every time we fight. And he's smiling at her, saying, this testing thing, we should probably keep doing it, right? And Trini says, yeah, sure. That means I'm gonna have to keep lying to my mom. How do you do it? Lie to your parents, I mean. He says, don't have to. Parents stay out of my life, I stay out of theirs. And she says, that sounds easier. He says, yeah, I guess. And Trini says, I think this is the longest conversation we've ever had. And Jason gets funny. He says, well, it's going to get a lot longer because you let us out into the middle of nowhere. And so then it's back at the command center. Zach's looking for Billy. And what you see here is Billy's voice, but it's like automated or mechanical. And he's been down there, improving the technology for maybe a day or so because he's missed class. So he goes over here, he rushes back to school, and he apologizes for missing the test, and the teacher allows him to make it up. And she says, you only have to have one thing to worry about at your age, Billy: your grades. Saving the world is someone else's responsibility. He didn't. And over here it says 64 days before arrival day. And this is Jason, Matt, Billy, Trini, and Zach. Now, for some reason, at this point, they have not really gotten to know Kimberly, because Matt wants to introduce his girlfriend to them, and then they find out it's Kimberly. And she's like, hi. And then this bit of dialogue, I'm not sure if it was revealed in issue 3 or not. And Jason's gulp. Billy's being friendly and saying, hello. Seriously, that's your girlfriend? No way, Matt. You are not dating that girl, Zach and Trini say. But because apparently something happened. That salad girl, she's totally insane. And Matt says, wait, you're salad girl? I have no idea what that means. And so she did something that apparently, maybe she spilled salad in somebody else's lap. And this is not a friendly argument. This is a heated argument. And so then we go back over to the moon. And Rita Repulsa comes in here to see Finster, and she says, where's my little mom? Oh, this is a Finster talking. There you are, hiding deep inside, You're a pretty thing, aren't you? Finster! And so it's Rita Repulsa. She comes in to see his progress. And you have to love this right here. All you can see is just her eyes and her mouth. It's like she's cloaked in shadow, and you can just see little bits of sliver of energy coming from her face. And then apparently this is what Finster created. A attractive looking half humanoid, half something else woman that's apparently going to be problems for the Power Rangers. So overall, I thought this was a big improvement for Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers series. The coloring was better, the shading was better. It looks two-dimensional, it looks cartoony. That's what I expect from a comic book. I don't expect something that looks like real life. Marvel and DC, take a note of that if anybody from either company is watching. I like my comic books to look like comic books should. They should not look so realistic. But I would recommend this issue to anyone who likes a nice, fun story. And this story is not finished, It's a to be continued. So if you enjoyed this review, please do subscribe to my channel, Spirit Comics. Smash that bell so you'll be notified of all future uploads. Also, like the video and share it with others so they can enjoy it too. I'm Michael for Spirit Comics. Till next time, true readers.